Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Wednesday, January 25th. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Police are looking for help in identifying a potential witness in a Halifax homicide. Around 1:15 on Christmas Eve, police were called to a disturbance involving several people in the 1700 block of Brunswick Street in Halifax. Officers found Ryan Sawyer unresponsive on the sidewalk just east of Brunswick Street on Prince Street. The incident took place outside the Ale House bar. Sawyer was transported to hospital where he later died. The Nova Scotia medical examiner conducted an autopsy and ruled it was a homicide. Today, police are releasing this photo of someone they are calling a potential witness, not a suspect in the case. Investigators are looking to speak with this man, who they say was in the area at the time of the incident and may have information in the case. He's described as black, in his 20s to 30s, tall with a thin build. He was wearing a black coat and a black shirt with a gold symbol. Police are not looking for any other suspects at this time. It's expected to be a very wet and windy day tomorrow across Nova Scotia. The Halifax area has been under wind and rainfall warnings today ahead of the storm, which is forecasted to impact all of the province. The wind is expected to cause some power outages. The heaviest rain will likely fall in the Halifax area and southwestern Nova Scotia. Our weather specialist, Alistair Alders, is going to let us know more about what we can expect here in HRM.
Well, here we go again, Kate. Another system set to impact the province tomorrow. Much like the last system, this will be mainly a rain event, but the big difference will be the very intense winds that will accompany this system. But here in Halifax, precipitation develops very early on Thursday morning. Now, initially, there could be some snow, especially inland, but it shouldn't accumulate too much, if anything, before changing over to the rain, and that rain will develop at times heavy throughout the morning on Thursday, continuing into the early afternoon. Now, I do see signs that the system will start to pull away as we go through the afternoon, with just a lingering chance of showers by the evening. In total, 30 to 50 millimeters of rain for Halifax, but pockets of 50 to 70 certainly do look likely. And intense southeast to southerly winds of 70 to 100 kilometers per hour are forecast here in Halifax. We could even see some locally higher gusts, maybe up to 110 along exposed coastlines. So when we've had winds of this magnitude with past storms, certainly we have experienced power outages, so that is a concern. The heavy rain also could lead to some localized flooding, so that is a concern here in Halifax too. I'll break down the entire timeline, what to expect province-wide with rainfall and precipitation coming up in just a bit. Kate.
And Alistair will be back in the weather section with more on how the rest of the province will be impacted. William Sandison's first-degree murder trial continued this morning in Nova Scotia Supreme Court in Dartmouth with testimony from an RCMP bloodstain pattern analyst. 30-year-old Sandison is accused of fatally shooting fellow Dalhousie University student Taylor Sampson on the night of August 15, 2015, when Sampson allegedly went to his apartment on Henry Street in Halifax to sell him 9 kilograms of marijuana. Sampson's body has never been found. The Crown alleges Sandison disposed the 22-year-old's remains using the same duffel bag that had contained the drugs. Sergeant Adrian Butler testified today about blood spatter he observed in photographs of the alleged murder weapon, a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol. Butler said spatter stains on the muzzle and slide of the semi-automatic handgun tested positive for blood with DNA profile that matched a sample of Sampson's DNA. This is the second time Sandison has stood trial on the murder charge. The verdict from the first trial in 2017 was overturned on appeal in 2020. The jury trial began January 9th and is expected to sit for 27 days. A Halifax regional police officer who was disciplined for tasering a man during an arrest in 2019 has had the decision overturned and has been cleared of any wrongdoing. A warning: the video used in this story may be disturbing for some viewers. Constable Nicole Green was one of 4 officers involved in the arrest of Clinton Fraser on December 4th, 2019. Fraser had been driving along Quinpool Road when he and another driver allegedly collided while attempting to merge lanes. What happened next was caught on tape by a bystander. Halifax Regional Police determined Fraser should be charged with an unsafe lane change. It was then that police alleged Fraser became angry with the officers, despite being told he was free to go, before assaulting one of them. When officers tried to arrest Fraser, he resisted, and Constable Green decided to use her taser. Green was found to be in violation of 3 Police Act regulations and was required to take de-escalation training and docked 8 hours of pay. But Green appealed that decision, and her argument was heard by the Nova Scotia Police Review Board. Green has now been granted her appeal. Chief Terry Paul has led the way in Sydney for the Member 2 Mi'kmaq band for nearly 40 years. Under Paul's leadership, the community, according to the last available figures, has more than tripled its land base, and its employment rate has now climbed to 80%. 2 years ago, Paul was the key player behind a $1 billion deal led by a coalition of Mi'kmaq communities to take control of Clearwater, one of the largest seafood companies on the continent. When he spoke to SaltWire's John DeMont recently, he called the Clearwater deal a game changer for Member 2 and the Mi'kmaq community, which became a 50% owner.
As they say, proof is in the pudding. And we had in the beginning, we had 0 employees really. Now we're about 50 or a little bit over 50. We have an Indigenous employment officer that works full-time for Clearwater to make sure that that side of the file is being looked after.
Paul says to suddenly become one of the biggest players in the East Coast fishery is still sinking in, and things are looking up as COVID restrictions have eased. Seafood markets, particularly in China, have begun to open up again, increasing revenue exponentially. One man who has dedicated his life to impersonating the one and only Elvis Presley is taking his talents on the road. Thane Dunn's birthday extravaganza tour is taking the Presley tribute artist across the Maritimes. SaltWire's Brendan Creamer has the details on his shows.
As a snowflake.
If there's anyone who can mimic the showmanship of the king of rock and roll, it's Thane Dunn. For about 15 years, Dunn has traveled the world with his Elvis Presley tribute show. Now, he's touring across Canada's East Coast with his birthday extravaganza tour. During one of their most recent shows, Dunn and his wife Melly sang In the Ghetto, on the recommendation of their son Charlie. They did this in tribute to the late Lisa Marie Presley, who passed away on January 12th. This touching performance was posted to social media and has since garnered over 2 million views.
We got the news that Lisa Marie had passed away. We were playing at the casino in Halifax, and a lady came up to the stage and told us that that had happened. So anyway, Melly and I, my wife, we were singing that song together, and Charlie said, "You guys should do that at the show." So I have a fantastic band, the Cadillac Kings, and we got there, we did our sound check and stuff like that, and we tried it out, and it fit.
Dunn says that so far, this tour has been one of their best yet.
Everything so far has been a smashing success. The people are coming out, the people are having fun, and the general consensus, I would say, is that this show is better than anything that we've done so far.
For tickets to Dunn's performances, check out his website at thanedunn.net. This is Brendan Creamer with the SaltWire Network.
It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon has a one-on-one exclusive interview with the woman charged with fixing the healthcare system, interim president and CEO Karen Oldfield.
Do you feel, taking on this responsibility, that in some ways you have to manage the expectations Nova Scotians have about when to expect things to improve?
Oh, yes, I think so. I mean, not just Nova Scotians, but, of course, our system, healthcare workers are Nova Scotians, but, it's very important to start with our healthcare workers and then to work beyond our healthcare workers to directly to the patient. And so from that perspective, I see it, I could use a couple of different analogies, but basically you have to be able to throw and run at the same time. Okay, if we just go football, you need to be able to throw for the 3, the 5, the 7 year, but you need to be able to run to get the quick things done that really need to be done quickly so that people can feel a change. So we're talking about transformation. Transformation is really identifying what's wrong and then fixing it for today and tomorrow. But in the meantime, making sure that we're doing things that are important to people, and that people can feel and people can touch and people know that things are being done that will make it better for them today.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of SaltWire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Here's the third and final part of my interview with Dahlia Daw, a forward with the Halifax Western Capitals of the Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League. In terms of players that you may look up to or favorite players, who would be a couple of those at any level?
Oh, I really look up to Mary Flipland. Like, she's the best out there. She is a good leader. She's good at hockey. And I also love Mitch Marner. Like, he just lights up the scoreboard. He knows what to do with the puck. Like, it's pretty good.
I'm going to ask you a couple of quick fire questions, and no right or wrong. First thing that comes into your head. You ready? What's your game day meal?
Oh my God, that's a hard one. I don't think I have one. I think I just eat whatever.
What's your favorite food?
Pasta. Probably pasta.
You're chilling out, no homework, no schoolwork, no practice. What are you eating for a snack, and what are you doing just to chill?
I'm reading a book, and I'm probably eating ice cream.
What flavor?
Chocolate.
Okay, and who's the goofiest player on your team? In a good way, goofy.
Probably Evie Rothenberg, Riley Bennett, and Mabel Gerard. Just
so there's three of them.
There's three of them.
So what's that like when you're in a bus or making a trip and the three of them are together?
Oh, they make it the best. They make it so fun. They get the team ready to go. They get like the energy up. Same with practices too.
You got to have those players on your team. What about best dressed? Who's that?
Ooh, Sophie Pomeroy for sure.
And last one in terms of your teammates, who's got the best singing voice, or who's always singing?
Grace McNutt. She has a good voice.
The Capitals are currently third overall in the league with 15 wins, 4 losses, good for 32 points. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the forecast, we're going to check back in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Hi again, Kate. Well, certainly we are looking at a messy day across the entire province on Thursday, but once again, this will be mostly a rain and wind event for the province, although a bit of snow to talk about. Let's take a look at the weather timeline to break it all down, and you can see that as we go through near and after midnight, the precipitation starts to develop in southwestern Nova Scotia, and you can see that there could be initially some snow, especially inland, but a changeover to rain is forecast. The precipitation arrives into the Halifax area and central Nova Scotia early in the morning on our Thursday and advances eastward across the rest of the mainland and into Cape Breton through the morning and will continue at times heavy through the afternoon. Rain at times heavy forecast across the province by mid-morning on our Thursday. Now, as we go throughout the afternoon, we will start to see the heaviest rain start to taper off to some scattered showers in southwestern Nova Scotia. That rain should ease by the mid to late afternoon in central Nova Scotia and the Halifax area, and then into the evening hours for eastern mainland Nova Scotia and Cape Breton. And then as we go through Thursday night into Friday morning, we will just have a lingering chance of showers and flurries. Now, in terms of rainfall amounts, a general 30 to 50 millimeters is forecast along the Atlantic coast of Nova Scotia, and pockets of 50 to 70 millimeters are possible. The rest of the province generally expecting about 10 to 30 millimeters. I expect the lowest amounts will be in the Annapolis Valley, parts of the North Shore, and parts of western Cape Breton. But winds will be a big story province-wide, and take a look at the wind gust outlook, and you can see southeast to southerly winds will start to ramp up early in the morning in the southwest tomorrow, and then we will see the strong winds start to build eastward as the day progresses. Peak wind gusts are forecast to range anywhere from 70 up to 100 kilometers per hour across the entire province. Some gusts possibly exceeding 100 up to 110 could occur directly on exposed coastlines, and lay sweat winds will gust up to 140 kilometers per hour between Margaree Harbour and Bay St. Lawrence. As we go through Thursday night into Friday morning. Winds will ease but still be gusty, generally 40 to 60 kilometers per hour from the southwest and then over to a westerly direction. So certainly we are in for a lot of rainfall, especially along the Atlantic coast, which could lead to some localized flooding. The intense wind could also cause some power outages. So if you do have to travel, because travel not going to be great throughout the day on Thursday, make sure to take care on the roads. Thankfully, conditions improve through Friday and the upcoming weekend, looking pretty good at this point. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to SaltWire.com. And you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.